He was just walking home, then they stepped out of the dark, and that's when the name first appeared. This gang didn't become powerful, they became feared. This is Darren's Case Files. Late 1800s Birmingham, England. Not the stylish version you've seen on TV. This was overcrowded housing, factory smoke choking the sky, entire families living in single rooms. Kids didn't grow up dreaming of success. They grew up learning how to survive. And on streets like these, reputation was everything. Because if people feared you, they didn't mess with you. And that's exactly what a group of young men started to build. Not an empire, a presence. Birmingham was the kind of place where the air never really clears. Smoke hangs low and the streets feel tighter at night. A man is walking home, no rush, no sense of danger, just a quiet rhythm of footsteps on wet cobblestone. Then something changes. Not a sound exactly, more like a shift. That feeling when you realise you're not alone. He turns and they're already there. Young men, flat caps pulled low, faces half hidden. They didn't speak, they didn't need to. What happens next is fast, it's violent, and it's uncontrolled. There's no warning, no time to think. Just hands grabbing, boots scraping across stone. The sound of breath, too close. He tries to pull away, but there's too many of them. And in moments like this, it's not about fighting back. It's about surviving long enough for them to get bored. By the time it's over, he's on the ground, bruised, shaken, trying to understand what just happened. And days later, when the newspapers report the attack, a name appears. The Peaky Blinders. Not a legend, a label for fear. The most unsettling part is how young they were. They weren't born criminals, they were boys growing up in streets where work was hard to find, money barely stretched, and survival came first. Factories dominated everything, but long hours, low pay, and no real way out. And when you grow up like that, lines start to blur. It starts small, a shove, a stolen coin, then bigger, more confidence, more risk, until one day you're not avoiding danger anymore. You are the danger. And it didn't stop with them, it never does. The Peaky Blinders didn't own Birmingham. They fought for it. Other gangs were already there, watching and responding. Territory wasn't marked, it was understood. And if you crossed it, you'd know. Fights didn't need planning, they just happened. A look, a word, a mistake, then everything explodes. And just as quickly, silence. The name sounds deadly, but what if it wasn't? Peaky Blinders, it sounds like something designed to scare you. But the truth is simpler. Peaky is their flat caps. Blinders is slang for looking sharp. These boys cared about one thing, how they were seen. They dressed better than most around them. Nice fitted jackets, boots, caps tilted just right. Because in a place where everyone had nothing, looking like you had something was power. What you think you know might not be real. Sorry about that. The blades in the caps, it's the detail everyone remembers. But in reality, razor blades were expensive. They weren't disposable until the 1900s. And these kids were on the street, they didn't have money. And there's no solid proof they were ever used like that. So why does the story stick? Because it feels true. We want it to be true. It's the kind of detail your brain holds on to. Sharp, simple, violent. That's the show, right? And once a story like that spreads, it doesn't need proof. It just needs people willing to believe it. And back then, fear spreads much faster than truth. And the truth was already enough. They didn't need weapons. They had numbers and surprise. While they were fighting for streets, someone else was taking everything. At first, nothing changes. Same streets, same fights, but somewhere else, everything is different. Race courses, crowds, money, movement, and behind it, control, led by Billy Kimber and the Birmingham boys. Kimber's wasn't random crime, it was systematic. Kimber's group controlled race courses by intimidating bookmakers, forcing them to pay for protection, controlling betting pitches, deciding who could operate and where, using enforcers, visible organised presence, expanding geographically, moving beyond Birmingham. This created something new, crime that didn't rely on chaos. It relied on structure. And once the money flows through a single system, power concentrates. And this is where everything changes. Because street violence, it burns fast, but organised crime, that lasts. It grows quietly, behind crowds, behind money. And by the time you notice it, it's already in control. Later, Kimber moved south into London, sparking brutal fights with other gangs, notably the Sabini gang, run by Charles Sabini. This guy. And in real life? Now, let's go back to Birmingham. The Peaky Blinders are still fighting over street corners and reputation. But it doesn't matter anymore, because the real power is somewhere else. And slowly, without a moment you can point to, the balance shifts. Street violence fades. Organised control rises. And the Peaky Blinders, they don't lose a final battle. They just become irrelevant. So how did this, the real Peaky Blinders, become that TV show years later? The name came back, not in the streets, on screen. And this time, the story gets rewritten. Not by witnesses, not by police, but by storytellers. And storytellers don't just report what happened, they shape what people remember, their story. The TV show Peaky Blinders took the name and built a legend around it. Now you have tailored suits, calculated strategy, political influence, a central mastermind, a completely different story. Because the truth wouldn't have looked like power. It would have looked like this. Young men evading police, running down wet streets, trying not to get caught. Not very sexy, is it? Let's look at some of the key differences in the TV show versus the real Peaky Blinders. Street thugs or masterminds. In real life, they were a disorganised street gang. On TV, strategic criminal empire built around betting and guns. At the beginning, yes, they do branch off into other things later on. Poverty versus power. In real life, they were working class teenagers. On TV, they are wealthy gang leaders in tailored suits. Razor blade in the cap myth. Likely false, we talked about this earlier. In the TV show, it was a signature weapon and an identity about the aura of the person wearing the cap. No central leader. In real life, they were just a loose group, no boss. On TV, the amazing cillianmurphy as Tommy Shelby. The scale. In real life, it was local street crime. On the TV show, it was national and then international influence. The war backstory. This one's tricky. In real life, the war hadn't happened yet. On TV though, the characters were shaped by World War I trauma, Tommy especially. The show didn't get the facts wrong. It just told a better story. The real Peaky Blinders weren't legends. They didn't build empires. They didn't outsmart governments. They fought in the streets, got replaced and disappeared into history. But their name, that survived. And thanks to television, it became something far bigger than they ever were. The TV adaptation almost reverses what actually happened in real life. Is that wrong? No, it's storytelling. Damn good storytelling. They took a slim timescale and enhanced a story that we all wanted to be true. Just fantastic TV. And here's something interesting. In the show, Billy Kimber is played by the wonderful Charlie Creed Miles. His second in command, Roberts, here he is, actually looks more like the real Billy Kimber than Billy Kimber. Was that a tongue-in-cheek moment, or do my eyes deceive me? If you enjoyed this and want to see more true crime, please follow. Until next time.